guys. Welcome. Come on in. I'm going to close that door over there. What did you think? What did you guys think of the story this time?
That was wild. An emotional roller coaster.
Okay, good. You thought so too?
I guess so. It was long.
It was kind of a long story, but I try not to give you something that's on the longer side unless I think it's really good.
It was.
What y'all think of it?
I'm just confused at how he bit the snake's head off. Like that whole action sequence just threw me for a loop.
Okay, so that story is sort of the same exercise that I had you do. It's a zoom in, zoom out. Did you recognize where that came from? You did. It's Jesus. Yeah. It's the crushing the head of the serpent, and then the death and resurrection. Do what? It was, yeah, it was weird. I've never read anything that was quite like that. His style is unique.
That probably was like the toffee that became the tongue. Like,
There were some weird, yeah, there's some weird things in there.
It was all.
I don't argue with that. I agree with that. I do think there were some things in it that were kind of weird. No, you don't think so?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I understood.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I enjoyed it, or I wouldn't have given it to you. I don't give you things that I think are just terrible. Because why would I do that? I want to encourage you to read stories. I want you to have things that you enjoy. I don't want to give you things that I think are stupid. Come on in, girls.
it was crazy.
It was crazy. It was crazy. We're talking about the reading assignment, the story that I had y'all read. So a lot of you gave me the story arc that I asked for, and I just didn't get a lot of opinions about the story. So I just wondered what you thought. Anyway, are we all here?
Daniel's not here. Right?
Well, Daniel's not here, but Daniel's kind of been in and out, and I think Daniel's about to do something different. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay. I'm gonna start with. Anybody want to guess what I'm gonna start with?
No, not Evan Colin.
Yeah.
Colin's not here yet. I bet he'll come in. Pronouns. We're gonna get so tired of pronouns.
It seems like you do that a lot.
We do, but there are so many different kinds of pronouns, and I don't even know that I have to write anything on the board right now. Indefinite pronouns. Anybody know what an indefinite pronoun is? Indefinite. Like if I said anybody can come. Well, anybody is a pronoun, but it's indefinite because I'm not talking about somebody specific. Right? Yes, get that? No? Are y'all awake?
No.
Wake up. I mean, I can't go to everybody and just shake you and wake you up. I need you to sort of take a deep breath and stretch and whatever you need to do.
Is them a pronoun?
Them, yes.
Okay.
It's an objective pronoun. Could you start a sentence with the word them?
Them went and got some soda. It depends on how
Them went and got some soda. No, absolutely not. So, but you could say, mom called them. Who is mom calling? Them. Somebody is being called. Yes, them is being called. Just don't say it that way in your sentence. Yes, them is a pronoun. Anything else?
How is, never mind. It's just a
Tell me.
question. Never
Say it.
mind.
Tell me, Mary Taylor.
I was just talking to somebody last night about like Gustan and Gustav, right? In Spanish.
Gustan? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Gustav? Yeah.
Yeah. But and they were like, well, Gustav is for the The P word that we're talking about.
Pronouns?
Yep.
Okay.
And
It's the difference in singular and plural. Gusta and gustan.
see, that makes more sense.
It's just the difference in a singular verb form and a plural verb form.
Okay,
That makes sense?
it does.
Okay. Good. I'm glad I could clear that up. Indefinite pronouns. Indefinite pronouns, and I have a whole list here. Maybe I'll just send you this list of indefinite pronouns, but most of them are singular, some of them are plural. If they end in thing, then it's not talking about a person. If it's something, anything, everything, it's not a person, it's a thing, right? That makes sense, doesn't it? Doesn't that just make logical sense? Okay, and then if it ends in body, somebody or someone, anyone, anybody, everybody, everyone, it's a person or people. What about another? It could be a pronoun, not just an adjective. It could be a pronoun. Some, none, much, both, fewer. These are all pronouns. Some of them are singular, some of them are plural. Crazy, I know, it's crazy. But they're indefinite because they're not talking about specific people or a specific thing. They're indefinite. That's what indefinite means. We've heard this before, right? All of this is clear. No problems with this, Robert. I see your hat moving. That's all I see. Now I see your eyeballs. There, and they're nice. You know, everything. You know, I just see the hat, but your face is nice too. Okay. All right. Okay. True indefinite. True indefinite. So this is true. I talked about absolute pronouns before, where the absolute pronoun can be. It can be the pronoun and possession all at once. Do y'all remember that? Nobody's acknowledging. So, yes, you remember this. Just as an example, like if I said his bike is blue, then the his is a possessive adjective, right? Because it's telling whose bike. But if I just took bike out and I said his is blue, then the his stands for the thing and it shows possession at the same time. Remember that? That's an absolute pronoun, right? So this one, we're talking about indefinite pronouns that are not specific. But if I say something is true, a true indefinite. So if I say a true indefinite, then let's say all kids are welcome, right? All, right here, all kids. Which kids?
Oh.
So this is used as what? Adjective. But if I take out kids and I say all are welcome, this becomes the pronoun. You see it? And this is a true indefinite because there's no other noun to go with it. This is standing for the noun. This is the pronoun here. Yeah, makes sense? Yeah, okay. Okay, so, or let me just give you another one. Many cats are hungry. Many cats are hungry. Many are hungry. All right, so I'm just taking out, this is an adjective, but if I take cats out, then this stands in the place. This is an indefinite pronoun. Yeah, makes sense? Okay, where's my eraser? Here it is. All right, I don't want to do any more of that.
Yeah.
Woo. Did somebody say yay? Was that you, Anna? Oh, Sarah Catherine.
I didn't know that.
That's okay. I don't mind. Just I mean, I don't ever get my feelings caught up in any of this, y'all. I don't. If you don't like something like this, I don't care. It's okay with me if you don't like this. I don't get my feelings hurt. I actually enjoy grammar, but if you don't, I don't get mad at you. I don't care. All right. If you are typing into Word or Google, and some of you typing into your email, it's going to give you little blue squiggly lines or red squiggly lines when you have a grammar mistake or a spelling mistake. Okay? If you have a red underline, you've spelled it incorrectly. Go back and check it. If you have a blue squiggly underline, your program is telling you you got something wonky here in your grammar. And sometimes it's wrong, but just check it. Just check it. Just see what it's telling you. And it sometimes Google gets it wrong, but a lot of times there's something that you just need to check. Any questions about that?
Why are y'all people typing into your email?
That would be terrible.
Yeah.
Some people do. Look, I had a kid last year I had more than one student last year who didn't have a computer and just used a phone.
But I was just.
I know, that's the face that I made too. I didn't know it all year. And then, so I kept giving corrections to this student. You know, this is something that you need to work on. This is something that you need to fix. You're dropping down too soon. You don't need to end your sentence here. You need to keep going. You know, you don't have a separate line for each sentence in your paragraph. You just need to continue. And the student just couldn't really see it because that kid was using a phone to type all the stuff.
Comments on my phone, but you go to the notes app and then copy and paste that one.
Some people, in years past, some people have used the notes app, and they do it in Note, and then they send it to me from Notes, and I can't open it.
Oh, yeah, you just gotta select all and copy and paste.
Well, see, you've created a hack. You figured out the system, Leela, and I'm so proud. Wonderful. Okay. If you see a blue squiggly line, just see what it's telling you. If you see a red squiggly line, check your spelling. Now, if you're making up a word or you're making up a name or something, Google's going to flag it. They're going to tell you spelled it wrong because you made it up. There's no such name. There's no such word. Whatever it is. And in that case, you can ignore Google. But if your program is telling you you've misspelled this, then just check it. If there's a blue squiggly line, just check and see what it's suggesting. You don't always have to do what it says, but just check it. Okay. Sometimes we look at the idea of writing a story or writing an essay or writing a paper, and it scares the heck out of us because we're like, I can't write this much. I can't write a whole 6 pages or whatever it is. You need to step back from that. Just write a sentence at a time. If you can build a good sentence, then you can build a good paragraph. And a paragraph can turn into a page. Don't say to yourself, I gotta write 4 pages. I gotta write a story. Just write a sentence at a time. Just focus on making a good sentence. Okay? And don't freak out. Don't freak out about the assignments. Look. Okay, another thing. Some of you guys, when we did this zoom in, zoom out exercise, some of y'all were a little bit freaked out by the idea of having to use a template, like the bones of another story. That freaked some of y'all out. And I have not read all the stories yet. So I'm not pointing at anybody in particular. I haven't had time to read all the stories yet. I will. I'll read them and I'll probably respond to you tomorrow or Saturday. I'll get to it. But some of you are much more comfortable just coming up with a completely different story, and you don't like to use the architecture of another story. That's okay. Sometimes it's helpful and sometimes it's not. It's just an exercise. It's just an exercise to see what you can build on the architecture that you're given. See what I mean? You won't have to do that every time, but that exercise is available to you if it helps you. Okay. Originality. Coming up with something original. Really, there aren't very many original stories in the world. There are just a handful of stories, and we keep passing them around and changing the details. See, I think it was Leo Tolstoy who wrote War and Peace. Y'all know who I'm talking about? Like, a long time ago. He said that there are only two stories. There are only two. Someone goes on a journey, or a stranger comes to town. Those are the only two stories. And we keep repeating those with different details. Someone goes on a journey, or a stranger comes to town. And, you know, this might be a simple character journey, like somebody might not actually leave. It just may be a character journey that they go on. They start as this person, and by the end they're somebody else. So they've gone on this character journey. Or somebody may come to town. It may be.
That's what ours was about.
Do what?
The stranger that came.
Stranger comes to town. Yeah.
And
the reading assignment, the little girl and the scamp man out in the street, the stranger comes to town. That's what that is.
He stole a snake.
And he killed the snake. That's right. He did. Okay. All right. So when you start to write a story, you guys are getting peer reviews. You're getting peer reviews when you write something. And we do this weird thing when it comes to our writing, where if somebody doesn't like something that we wrote, if they don't like part of it or they don't like any of it, then we sort of take it personally. But your writing is not you. Your writing is not you. We wouldn't do this if it were volleyball and you miss a serve. You know, you serve it right into the net. If somebody says, "Oh, you blew that one," you don't go, "Oh, she doesn't like me. She doesn't like me anymore because she didn't like my serve." Well, no, it was a bad serve. Come on in. It was a bad serve. You served it. I mean, if you shoot a free throw and it's just a complete brick, you know, it just bangs off the rim. If somebody says, "Man, that was terrible," or it's an air ball, and the crowd starts yelling, "Air ball, air ball," well, it was a bad play. It was just a mistake on the court. You can't walk away from that and say, "I can't ever do this again. I'll never be good at this. They don't like me anymore." No, you just shot your shot and it was not a good shot. So you go back to the free throw line and you try again. You go back to the serving line and you serve it again. It's the same thing with writing, but we just think of it differently because I don't know why. I guess because it's something internal that we're putting out on a page instead of something that's external. I don't know. I don't know what the difference is, but sometimes in writing, we will shoot our shot in writing and we get feedback and people didn't like what we wrote. And so we're like, "I'm never going to get good at this. I just got to quit and I can't write." And come on, y'all. Just shoot your shot. Some of them are going to be great, and some of them are going to be air balls. You just go back to the line and do it again. It's all right. Don't take it to heart if people don't like your story, if people don't like your essay, if they give you critical feedback. Well, learn from it, but don't fall into the depths of despair, you know, because you didn't get it over the net that time. See what I'm saying? Don't take it personally, right? Okay. That's all I need to say about that, I think. Anybody want to add anything to that? All quiet. You guys are quiet this morning. All right. Next. Strong feminine characters. And I do a feminine character and a masculine character lesson every year. And I don't want to say exactly the same things every year, but I have new students every year. I have new students that come in and some that go out. So I always do that.
If you didn't have any new students, would you?
If I didn't have any new students, I don't know. I don't know, Leela. Maybe. I mean, maybe I would just do the same thing and then try to change it up, and I don't know. I don't give the same writing assignments every year. I don't give the same reading assignments every year, but my basic plan stays the same. I don't think I could make it if I had to change my entire lesson plans every year. I couldn't do that. Okay. So in just a second, I'm going to change gears, but for right now, I think I'm going to start at the end of my plans here. When you think of a strong female protagonist, what do you think of?
Rosie the Riveter.
Say it again, sir.
Mulan.
Mulan. Okay, what else? Somebody else said something.
Rosie the Riveter.
Rosie the Riveter. Yeah, I mean she's sort of a figure, like an icon. World War II. Not think about story characters. Story or movie. Mulan. Who else? Wonder Woman. As you roll your eyes and sigh deeply.
Yeah.
That's what you think of, but you don't like that one.
No, because I know where the lessons go, and I feel like if I say Wonder Woman, it makes the point a lot easier to make.
Okay, well let's
And,
not use
I
Wonder
mean,
Woman.
Wonder Woman does kind of come up.
It does come to mind because I use the word strong.
Yeah.
What if I don't use the word strong?
Mhm.
You still think of Mulan. Okay. Female protagonist. The lead character in a story that happens to be female. Who do you think of?
Pollyanna.
Pollyanna. Anybody else? Who?
Esther.
Okay, you're thinking Bible story. Okay, Esther. What else? Anne of Green Gables. Come on, y'all have read books, you have watched movies.
She's the best.
Give me one, Jada. I know you've read a lot of stuff. Give me a female protagonist.
Sophie Foster.
Who?
Sophie Foster.
Okay, tell me who that is because I haven't read. I know that y'all have read some of the same stuff. Who is Sophie Foster? Who is
She's
that?
a really good main character in a book series.
Okay. She's a main character in a book series, but I don't know anything about her. Tell me something about this girl.
Basically, she comes from a background of being with humans, and then she's transformed into this entirely another world. She's very confused, and apparently she's now orphaned, and basically she goes through that stage, and she becomes a stronger version of herself and trials with her friends.
Okay.
And she almost gets killed a lot.
Almost gets killed a lot. Okay. I don't know this one. So, okay. Sophie Foster. What else? Somebody give me another one.
And
Merida.
Yeah.
Merida.
She was a brat.
What?
Whoa.
Why are you so defensive?
Because Merida was Manila's favorite Disney princess.
The best
She
Disney
was a brat.
No, how was she a brat? She didn't want to get married to
Merida?
Mom.
Mom, when I need to be on my own, like, bro. At least she's better than all the rest of them. Better than Ariel, miss. I'm 15 years
Okay,
old.
I have no
Not
problem. No, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. I think Ariel is a brat too.
They are a little fat.
Like, even when she wasn't getting married, she
well,
was
way
so
of different perspective
like,
and stuff. Because
yeah,
Ariel and
so-
Merida, they had their vision in mind and stuff, and they're people that they have cared about and stuff was taking them in a different direction than they wanted to go.
Okay. We're talking about the Disney. We're talking about the Disney version, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about Disney.
In the Bible with the tech pad, I like her.
JL.
She's the best.
Okay, we'll get to Bible stories in a minute.
She's slays.
We'll talk about Bible stories. Okay, I do want to hit on Ariel, and I want to tell you where I'm coming from because Disney has created this whole movement for many, many, many years, and you can reach into a culture by speaking to kids. Believe it or not, that's why I'm here. I'm here, I'm doing it on purpose. And so is Disney. They're doing it on purpose, but they have a way different agenda. And so a long time ago, Disney started putting threads of you know best and your parents don't. Your parents don't know what's best for you, and you can see it for yourself. Fathers are dumb. Fathers don't see what's going on. And if you look through Disney movies, how many fathers are strong and intelligent and are actually doing really well with their families?
Yeah, literally, and a lot.
Mr. Incredible. Well,
He becomes that, Robert. He becomes that. He becomes Mr. Incredible becomes the father who's really taking care of his family and doing well. But at the beginning, he's sneaking off to do things to just kind of relive. Yeah.
Belle's father.
Belle's father. Belle's father wants Beauty and the Beast. Belle's father wants to take care of her, but he's a bumbling fool. She's taking care of him. She's trying to take care of him because he can't. He wants to take care of her. He loves his daughter, but the whole town thinks of him as an idiot. Even before, and he's not an idiot, but he can't take care of his daughter. Like, she kind of rolls her eyes and pats him on the head at different places because I don't know what y'all are laughing at.
She really does that.
She does
might
kind
be
of.
talking
She.
about the live action.
Are you talking about the live action? It doesn't really matter.
I'm talking about like
Yeah, it doesn't really matter because Belle, just like a lot of the Disney female characters, wants to break out and there's more to this life. There's more than what's around me. I don't like what I see. And a lot of times there's a good reason. Merida doesn't want to get married. She doesn't want to get married to some of these guys. And if you look at the guys that are available to her, there's 2 or 3, she's right. I wouldn't want to marry those guys either because one of them can't speak. You can't understand him. And one of them is full of himself, and the other one looks like he doesn't even know he's in the world. I don't. So there's 3 different guys. I wouldn't want to marry any of them either. But she crosses over into, I'm gonna go see this witch, and I'm gonna be deceitful, and I'm gonna trick my mom, and I'm gonna do all of this. She crosses the line into brat. She does. She crosses the line into brat. You can't blame her for not wanting to marry these guys, and that's what Disney has done. They never gave her a good option. There was nothing good in her situation. So you obviously are on her side. You want her to be able to get out of this because you don't want this either.
She didn't mean to turn her mom into a bear, man. Cut her some slack.
She did not mean
But
to
she
turn
meant
her
to
mom.
curse her.
She
No,
didn't.
she meant to change her mind. Like, I don't want to get married. LOL. Change your mind. And then when you like, girl, I got you. Watch this. And then her mom was there.
She snuck around. She snuck around and she deceived her mom.
But her mom wouldn't listen to her either.
He wasn't listening to her mom either. And so was Merida.
They should have communicated.
They should have communicated. That's right. I totally agree with
She
you.
was like, Mom, I really don't want to get married. And her mom was like, LOL. I
No.
don't care.
Okay.
So now it's the mother's fault because if she didn't act in that way towards her child and stuff, she probably wouldn't have been turned into a bear.
Literally. Her fault. Blame her. Victim. Blame her.
Well, I'm gonna go back to Disney here.
Oops, sorry.
Disney has built this story in such a way that it's very, very hard for you to do anything except side with Merida. It's very hard for you to look at the mother and say, she was trapped too. The mother was also trapped. The mother went through the same thing. She had to marry somebody that she didn't choose. And she actually went, because that's the law of the land. That's the law of the land. So the mother has been where Merida is.
But she had a decent option.
Well, you don't know what he was like when he was
I would
19
imagine
years old.
the same.
I mean, he still does things. I can't think of the specifics, but he still does things where the mother goes, you know, she's still kind of, what are you thinking? She still does that. He needs her to straighten him out. Will you agree with that?
Sure.
The dad still needs the mom to straighten him out. So what did that look like when he was 18, 19 years old? You don't know. I mean, you're not given that backstory, but why would you think that it's any different than what Merida has right now?
Because I like Merida.
Because you like Merida, yes. But from the mother's perspective, and I can go with the mother's perspective because I'm a mom. I'm gonna take the right away here, and I'm gonna say the mother has been through that, and so she's looking at it from a 20-year perspective. She's able to look backwards at this and say, I know you don't like it. I didn't like it either. It's the law of the land. And she's stuck in it too. The mother can't do anything about this. She can't change the laws. So she's like, this is what I have to do this. This is the way we have to go. This is the law of the land. Stop bucking against this. You know, she just sees, do you imagine that this is the first time that they have ever had conflict?
Probably not.
Is this the first time that Merida has ever dug in her heels about something that her mom said? No. There is, you know, by this particular conflict, you know that they have had stuff before, right? So why is this conflict different? In the mother's mind, why is this conflict different than something that happened before?
Because it determines her future.
It's different for Merida. It's different for Merida because Merida sees this as this is the hill to die on. And like I said, with the options that she has, I don't disagree with her. I don't disagree with her. I mean, I would die on that hill too. I don't want to marry any of those three options that she has. But the mother is also trapped in this. Merida is trapped into something, so is the mother. They're both in the same system, and the mother has gone through this before. So, Disney has done a good job of making you feel empathy with the female protagonist. Whatever girl, whatever princess it is that feels stuck, that feels like she has to get out. Her parents don't, I mean, you can call out any Disney movie to me. Moana. Moana is one. She's got to get away, right? Who's keeping her from getting away? Her dad keeps her from the water. And in the end, who was right? Moana was right. She almost dies, but it always works out for the princess. And the
hate Ariel. I just hate Ariel. I really hate her. I always have.
yeah. Well, I mean, Ariel is a princess. She's a princess, and she's not being forced into marriage. She just doesn't like what she has. She wants something else. She wants something different.
She wants to run off with a boy she saw for a grand total of 14
She wants to
seconds.
run off with, because she just has these imaginations that it's better up there. It's better somewhere else. And so she leaves, causes her dad to turn into a sea worm or something, whatever that thing is. You know, the witch steals her voice and creates all kind of panic, and the whole ocean starts turning upside down. All because this girl didn't like what she had. She didn't like what she had. She wanted something else. Something.
Sebastian was so right, though. She should have stayed under the damn sea, man.
She should have stayed under the sea. Her dad wouldn't have gotten turned into a worm. She wouldn't have lost her voice. The sea wouldn't have been swirling. And who knows? You never see any kind of collateral damage in Disney. But if you got something like that going on, there's damage somewhere. Some poor dolphin died in that.
Oh.
You know, I mean, you don't have something like that without some damage. But you don't see that. What did Ariel cause when she refused to listen to good counsel? Daddy just doesn't understand. Mom's gone. Who knows what happened to Mom?
Fully dead.
Daddy doesn't understand. Well, maybe so.
Just like every Disney
No,
movie
died.
ever.
There's
She
like
died
a prequel to
by
the
the
ship,
ship.
and that's why
their
her
mom
dad.
died in some sort of thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Ariel has a kid.
Yeah, Ariel has a kid.
Yeah.
A dark-haired kid, not red-haired.
Yeah,
That
it
might
was
be
gonna
bad.
Yeah, we can't watch all
That's the
that.
way red hair jeans work, okay?
And then you have you. You
No.
have no red.
Okay,
hair.
look,
Like this.
She doesn't have any kids yet.
Just
No,
wait.
I mean,
Just
we're
wait.
saying one of them was in fact a redhead, and their kid came out with brown hair, and both of you guys have brown hair. She pops out with a red hair.
But the dark hair gene is like usually stronger, and they both have the genes, so and then they got dark hair kids. And then Deb and you were just like, what you do?
Let's
I
keep an
definitely
eye out.
thought you and Jen were adopted for a little while.
No.
We got
I have a
placed-
redheaded sister, and my husband has a redheaded brother, so it skipped us, and 2 of our kids are redheaded. Why are we talking about that? I keep saying this every week. I keep saying
Back to female characters.
female characters. Okay, Ariel. I'm not gonna get to all of what I. Okay, so who was right at the end?
Ariel.
Ariel is right. Ariel is right. It all worked out just like she wanted, and everybody else sacrifices for her. Everybody else sacrifices for her. I think I can tie it in here. So, how does God write his female characters? You said Esther. And then you made a face at me. You said Esther. Give me another Bible character.
Yeah.
JL.
She slays. I love literally.
Literally,
does.
JL
She
slays.
really does do that.
Say it again. Ruth.
Deborah.
Deborah. Who else?
Mary, Jesus' mother.
Mary, the mother of Jesus.
Lots of Marys.
Rahab. Anybody else?
Hannah.
Hannah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Leah. Yes. Okay.
Oh, poor thing.
In each of these, I don't know if I can say it about Leah. Leah,
She was ugly. Sorry.
there was something that wasn't as attractive about her. We don't. I mean,
Hey, what if-
it said her eyes are weak, so I don't know what that means.
Oh, she's probably Christian.
She may have had a lazy eye or
She was
something.
probably really funny though.
Wait, I thought that her house was pretty.
She was.
No,
I
I thought like the rest of her was ugly. but
Her eyes were so big.
It's,
Dick was
you
like,
know,
I can't.
that's what it says. Her eyes were weak. So I don't know.
I think she had that going
She may.
on.
I mean, she may have been cross-eyed, or she may have been wall-eyed, like one eye.
Oh, I can't do that much.
No, you can't do that with your eyes because the muscles are working correctly for you.
Or maybe Jacob just like
Yeah, he did.
No,
He
it's
did
just
because
like-
no, there was something physical about it. There was something physical in the immediate, but he did. He probably there was something else that also drew him to Rachel. He loved Rachel. And Leah had weak eyes. I don't know what else there might have been going on with Leah, but anyway, Esther. Somebody said Ruth. Rahab. Tamar. Tamar. Y'all know the story of Tamar?
Oh, yeah.
Bold.
Tamar. Tamar is the one who dresses up as a prostitute and tricks her father-in-law into sleeping with her, and then she has a set of twins.
No.
And-
the cave situation? Oh.
Yeah, okay, we're not going there right now. We're not going there right now. But Tamar was actually the more righteous one in this. She was righteous in this. And it blows our minds that she could be righteous acting in that way. Golly, I'm just losing my time right now, but I don't know how much I can get. So God writes characters that we sometimes read and we go, ooh, we can't act that way. We can't do that. And there probably will never be a reason for you to act in the way that Tamar did, or that Rahab did, or that Esther did. You know what Esther actually did? What did Esther do?
She went against the law because she went forth to king without being.
Yes, yes. But what did she do before that? How did she actually get to the point where she could go into the king? Because at that point, she was already married to him. She was the queen. How did she get to be the queen?
She won a beauty contest.
She won a beauty contest.
According to
And then there were nights that she was taken to the king, and he was pleased with her. What did she do? Well, you guys are in high school. You guys are in high school. You know what I'm talking about. She didn't sit in the corner and crochet. She didn't do that. You know, she wasn't holding her cross stitching beside him in the bed. That's not what she's doing. She was called to something that we would look at and go, whew, I can't do that. I can't do that. But because she was willing to do that, she sacrificed herself in that way, and she saved her people. She had no hope of ever going back to be with her people. She is the wife of the queen. I mean, she is the wife of the king. Sorry, I'm moving fast here in my mind. She is the wife of the king. She is the wife of a pagan king. She is never going back to be with her people, ever. But she is sacrificing herself to save everybody. You see what I'm saying? She does this very hard thing, and she was righteous in this. Okay, I'm gonna go back to Tamar for just a minute because y'all didn't seem to know the story very well. Jacob, it's not Jacob. Judah. It was a J name. Sorry. Judah had a son that was married to Tamar, but he died. Okay, and the way that the culture worked then, the law was, if the man died and he didn't have any sons, he didn't have any children, that woman was supposed to be married to the next brother, so that when a child was born, that child could have the name of the deceased father. Okay, and this had to do with property. This had to do with allotments of land and all of this kind of stuff, property in Israel, because there was for each tribe there was a certain amount of property, a certain amount of land, and it passed through families. Okay, so this is God's arrangement. If the man doesn't have any children and he dies, then the wife is married to the next brother. Okay, so that happened. The first son died, and then Tamar is married to the next son. Well, he dies too, because he's a wicked man. He's just,
Doesn't it say the Lord struck him down?
the Lord struck him down. He was a wicked man. And so then there was another brother, but he was young. He was young. So Tamar had to wait for him to grow up. Just let me step back for a second. There is a prophecy that the Messiah will come through the line of Judah. Okay, this is the prophecy. Tamar knows this. And so she knows that she could be in line for the Messiah. She could be in the lineage of Christ. And now that two of the sons are gone and there's only one left, that's where the line of Christ is. It's a prophecy and she believes it. She knows that it's going to happen. So when this third son grows up, Judah won't give her. Judah won't let Tamar be married to this one because his other two sons are gone, and he will not let this is not just Tamar saying, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is God's law. This is what God has prescribed for these people. And Judah is standing in the way, and he's not doing what he's supposed to do. And Tamar recognizes that she is being cut out of this. Okay, he is blocking her from this promise. He is trying to push her out of this. But there's also a financial side to it. He is taking away her inheritance. It's a property issue too. He's cutting her out of all kinds of things, right? So he's stealing from her. He is in the wrong here, and so she dresses up as a prostitute and lures him so that he sleeps with his daughter-in-law. and she ends up pregnant with twins. Okay. And this is the story where when he wants to go into the tent with her, whatever it is, she says, well, how do I know that, I need some kind of assurance. I need some kind of payment. So he gives her some things that will identify him specifically. And then he goes on his merry way. Well, later on, this daughter-in-law, but he goes back later on and he's asking people, where was the prostitute that was here? And they're like, there's no prostitute here. There hadn't been a prostitute here. And he was like, okay, she's got my stuff. Later on, he finds out that his daughter-in-law is pregnant. And so he wants to bring her out and burn her at the stake because she has committed this sin. So she brings out these things that belong to him. And she said, you tell me whose these are. And he's like, oh, man. Oh, man. Those are mine. She has been more righteous than I have been. She was in the right. And so we look at stories like that and we go, wow, this woman dressed up as a prostitute and slept with her father-in-law. But in God's eyes, she did what was right and Judah was in the wrong. And that's hard for us to wrap our minds around. JL is another one. She is a mighty woman. She's not out in the battle with the other men. But when the enemy comes toward her, she says, here, have a glass of milk. Go take a nap. Rest. Rest your bones, my dear. Let me cover you up. And then, and she's not a wuss. She's not a wuss. Anybody who can swing a mallet, and how many strikes do you think she's going to get?
Yeah.
She got to do this in one stroke. She's got this tent peg over this king's head, this sleeping king. What's going to happen if he wakes up? No, she's going to die. She's got one stroke. She's got to get this thing all the way through his head and into the ground, and she does. So, if you think of somebody who's lived a nomadic lifestyle, lived in tents, set up tents, taken them down, she's no wuss. She can handle a mallet. She can handle a spike. And so she takes that thing and she drives it through. No. That is one of the female characters that God writes. Okay, he doesn't write any squishy, tied up in a corset, have to ride with both legs on one side of the horse. He doesn't write characters who need a fainting couch, or smelling salts. That's a very Victorian era picture of women, and believe it or not, that kind of thought still affects us now. It still affects us now. We overcorrected because women got tired of being patted on the head. You stand over here and just look pretty. Make sure that all the pianos are dusted and the floors are swept, and then just sit there and twiddle your thumbs. But don't think about anything. We don't need you to be educated because you're just going to be sweeping the floors anyway. It's wrong. It's wrong to treat women that way. But because it was happening so much, women swung wildly the other way and began to despise their own place, began to despise whatever it was in their life that God had called them to do. And they said, I don't like this. I want to go out and do the man's job because I want to be able to use my brain. Because I want to be able to use all the giftings that I have. And so we swung wildly to the other side instead of just course correcting and because women were not made to just sit and look pretty and do nothing and not think. Women were made to work alongside men. We are made to do jobs. And so when we have no obligations or things are way too easy for us, like how long does it take to dust the furniture? If that's all you've got to do, how long does it take to do that? And then you have time on your hands and you're bored. And then you start to look around you and fuss about what you have. Instead of figuring out, how do I work where I am? How do I improve things where I am? And so women just shot off in the other direction and said, I don't, if this is what a woman is, I don't want it. And I want to go be what's outside of this. I want to be a manly character. And so now you got women who are taking testosterone just to bulk up, and they're shaving the sides of their head, and they're, you know, all this kind of stuff. Anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't need to go into all that. The Mulan character, she is dressing up as a man, but she's not trying to be manly.
No,
She's not trying to be manly. This is more of a, y'all know Lord of the Rings?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have a character there who also, she wants to follow her king, but her king has been sitting in his chair and just rotting, basically. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I have no idea.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll let you get to it later, but you have a character there who wants to follow a king. She wants to work along, she's not trying to be a man, but she wants to work alongside her king in her place. But her king has been sitting there and just dwindling away. His mind is going because there's a lot to it. But when there is a king for her to follow out, that's what she wants to do, and she's told to stay. They don't want her to go because she's a woman. They don't want her in battle. That's why she dresses up, because she so badly wants to follow her king. And I think with Mulan, she's not trying to be manly.
In Mulan's case, she actually went instead of her father because she felt a great love for her father. She didn't want her father to die immediately.
Right.
She knew as soon as he would be enlisted, he would
Okay.
die immediately.
I do think that there again, I think Mulan is not trying to be manly, but I do think there that Disney is saying, you as a young woman are in charge of protecting your father.
I feel like as a child's duty, as their parents get older, they're supposed to take care of their parents now. So I feel like that's right.
Well, I hear what you're saying, and at this point in my life, I am responsible for some older parents. Okay, so I do understand that, but I don't necessarily think that that's what's going on in Disney. You could isolate that and say maybe that is what's going on in that case, but Disney has a history of saying that the girl or the young lady really knows best. She really should be in charge. Just comparing that story to so many other Disney stories, there is a pattern of Disney saying, look, your parents really, they might want what's best for you, but they don't really know, and they can't handle this, so you need to be the one to step up and take charge. You see what I'm saying? There is a history of this with Disney. You can look at all the other Disney movies and compare it. I do see what you're saying about Mulan. She's trying to take care of elderly parents, but in the broad scheme of what Disney does, I think it can fall into the same category, where Disney is saying you need to shake off the shackles of whatever your parents are telling you. Yeah. Okay. So I have not got one more thing real quick, because I'm just about out of time, but I really do want to say this. The Proverbs 31 woman. Y'all have read this before, right? Mm-hmm. Proverbs 31 woman. Tell me a little bit about her. What do you remember about her?
She wakes up really early.
She wakes up early. And what does she do?
She manages the household, the servants, and her husband's land, and she's in charge of it pretty much.
And he trusts her to do that. She sees a field and buys it. So this is not somebody like, sometimes in Christian circles there are really conservative groups that say women should never be out doing anything that earns them a paycheck. But she was out buying and selling, and she had this business going, and she had this, international trade, maybe. I don't even know, but she was not just sitting at home and milking the cows and dusting the furniture, and then that's it. She had a lot going on. Now her focus, her priority was her home. Her priority was her home because she clothes her family in scarlet. She clothes or scarlet or crimson. It's the same thing. She can laugh at the days to come. All of her people are. She works with flax, right? And that, you know who's writing this? Do you know who wrote this? Who wrote the Proverbs? Solomon. This is David's son. Do y'all remember this now? Solomon wrote the Proverbs. Okay, so I was listening to something, and I think this is correct. Proverbs 31 that Solomon is writing, there are some really clear allusions to Rahab. Because Solomon's great-great-great-grandmother was Rahab. Do you remember the story of Rahab? How did they know to save her? The scarlet thread, right? She's clothing her family in scarlet thread. What is it? She's working with flax. Do you know where Rahab hid the spies? Under the flax. Yes, that was flax. And so I think there's some clear, I think that's right. I was listening to somebody else say this, but I think that's right. I think there's some clear allusions to Rahab. And so God used this woman who was a prostitute. She was a prostitute, but God brought her into the lineage of Christ. And so sometimes we look at these characters that God writes and we go, oh, that's not Christian. That's not Christian. That's a little edgy. And any of these Old Testament characters, if you read through Genesis or if you read through Judges or any of these Old Testament characters, if you don't like these stories, then you don't like the stories that God writes. And you need to adjust your tastes because this is God's story. I didn't get to all that I wanted to say, but I'm out of time and I need to give you an assignment sheet. And I need to let you go. I need to let you out of here. You love jail? It's a good story. Okay. Any questions? Okay, on your assignment sheet, it says to write a story and try to build in some irony. Try to build in some irony. Try to build in some situational irony. And situational irony is what? The opposite of what you expected. Yeah, the opposite of what you could predict or the opposite of what you expected would happen. And if y'all have any questions about that, you can email me. You may go. Good to see you, buddy.
I needed judges to
What?
go fix the hot water.
Oh,
I had a cold shower.
did you work it out? Yeah, well,